Good evening and welcome to the Sports Locker. We're talking all things rugby tonight, and after a decade-long battle to be accepted into Rugby Europe, lots of legal proceedings, lots of courts to go through, Gibraltar were finally accepted as full members. That was in late 2025. They kicked off 2026 with an international win against Finland. Joining me tonight to talk about all things rugby is Coach Tom, players Tris and David. Tom, we'll take you back to late 2025 and quickly talk about that massive point, which was Gibraltar being accepted into Rugby Europe. Tell us about that phone call and the proceedings in general.
Yeah, it was a nerve-wracking day. We had training sessions ahead of the game against Jamaica, UK. But it was certainly a nerve-wracking day. We had 2 votes to get through at the National Assembly in Alicante. And first vote was around the bylaws, which was something that was changed, or sort of enforceably changed in a way through our court case. That was passed through early morning, and then we had to kind of wait 3 or 4 hours until we could get Stephen and Chad up onto the stand to put our case forward to get full membership of Rugby Europe. And thankfully, the members of Rugby Europe, after 15 years, felt that our case was strong enough and that we were able to get in. So it was a really exciting day, a really exciting moment. Chad called me. Stephen was inside already working on a project about women's rugby, so the work started straight away. But it was great to be able to get that news and then look ahead to an exciting weekend with the sort of stress or the worry about that decision in the back of our minds, so we could push on with the Jamaica game.
And I understand, I think you were telling me you got the phone call inside one room and the players were in a different room, and you couldn't hold in the excitement. I mean, how did you receive the news as a player, Tris?
Huge amounts of excitement initially for the future and what it holds for the youth in the sport, and of course across all sports, across all different platforms of the sport. But also a huge amount of pride for those that have fought so hard over the last sort of 15 years to get us to that point. So yeah, it was mixed emotions, but it gave us a lot of motivation going into the game.
You mentioned the players and the people in the back staff that have worked so hard to make this happen over 15 years. David, you're just 18, so you're kind of, I guess, going to reap the rewards now of all that effort. How exciting is it for you to be a young rugby player now?
I mean, it's fantastic because I haven't been playing rugby much while we're not in Rugby Europe. So now that it's fantastic we're in Rugby Europe. But now that we're in, I've got a fantastic future ahead of me, and I can't wait for all the international games while we're in Rugby Europe.
A bit jealous, Tris?
A bit jealous, yeah. Yeah, I'm coming to the end of my career, but no, it's great. Hopefully, I can do what I can in the closing years.
I mean, you hear now of players like David who say they have a lot more to look forward to now. I mean, how exciting is that, and how beneficial is that going to be to attract players and keep them in the sport? Yeah,
it certainly is. I mean, for players like David, we're going to Lisbon in about a month's time to go and play in a Sevens tournament. That is in preparation, and we'd already organised that, with in mind that we will have Sevens tournaments within Rugby Europe to play in, and that is something that's now a real opportunity for us to play at under-18s level as well as seniors. So it gives age grade players an opportunity, something to aim for. And also for the younger players as well, to see David down at training, to see him playing on a Saturday, and know that he's come through our youth section and through our juniors, and then gone on to play for the national team and been able to do so at such a young age. It gives a lot of players, that hope and that dream that, it is a reality. They can go through and they can play for Gibraltar at the highest level.
Talking about games, talking about playing at the highest level, before we played Finland at the end of last year, we had a game against Jamaica, UK. Perhaps the result didn't go our way, but performance was there, particularly in the last 10-15 minutes, so we were really pushed for an equaliser. That must have served as good training for our real international friendly against Finland, and the result did go our way there.
Yeah, I think it definitely prepared us in a really useful way. We had a lot of local lads, who still live in Gibraltar, who were playing. We have a real mix from the Finland game of guys who are now based in the UK or university students who are currently based in the UK. So being able to play against Jamaica, UK was a great opportunity for us to be able to sort of get together as a group and prepare. And hopefully we'll see it soon. If you've watched the game and if you've watched it back on our YouTube or anything, you'll see how exciting that we wanted to play when we played with the ball and we managed to move it around. It was some really exciting rugby and some strong defence as well.
Well, we can now see some highlights of that international game against Finland at Europa Point. And maybe you can talk us through a bit of what's happening. Let's start with the national anthem. As a player, David, what's going through your mind here now in front of a packed main stand?
Yeah, the nerves are jangling here. You're just desperate to get on with the game and get into it and get your first contact in. Yeah, no, it's exciting times.
And this is the first try here now, courtesy of the captain.
Yeah, it's we'd had really 20 minutes of really strong defence, and then we got their penalty and got ourselves up for a line out inside the 22. Didn't quite go to plan for us initially from the line out, but see Oscar coming around the corner here. He's bouncing, he really wants that ball, and he just crashes through three different players trying to tackle him down, but they couldn't stop him, and the way he pops up, just like a jack in a box. So pleased with himself for getting that first try, and say he's already been bragging a little bit that he's had the first official international try.
This is the second try. This is Simon Adamson, this is what he's good at. Extremely good, well-balanced runner, very powerful. We take the defence towards the post now, just to try and set them off guard a bit, and then Ewan, our number 9 there, he's spotted who he wants to hit, and Chris Perel goes over for a good strong try. And again, lots of excitement. And,
you can just see how much it means.
Lots of passion.
This third try, maybe you can talk us through it, David, because you did score it. Talk us through, I mean, you're out here on the wing now. Talk us what's going through your mind right now.
Yeah, so at this point now, one of our players, Caleb, he gets a lovely breakthrough here, and he's charging through, making loads of meters. And now it's very tense, and we're excited for this try. Ben throws a lovely pass, I catch it, and there it just natural instinct takes over, and I just take it inside into the centre try.
And it shows great maturity, I mean, for such a young player, don't you think, Tom, to be able to keep his composure and run inside just to make this conversion a little bit easier?
Yeah, hugely. Every point matters, and say this was actually a really tight game in the end. So to be able to get those extra 2 points, make that kick easier, shows maturity we've got in such a young player.
Second half start here, 10 substitutions from Finland, and I think it's fair to say that they started the second half quite well.
Yeah, they came out the blocks in the second half, and we kind of knew that was coming. We needed to soak it up. We started to feel the fatigue in our legs a bit, and our defence started to waver. What we were good at in the first half was coming off the line as a unit, meeting the challenge and winning the contact area. We started to lose that contact area, which gave them the front foot, and they took full advantage of that.
I believe it was 2 tries in 10 minutes. Are you a bit worried at this point now, Tom, from the sideline?
No, well, obviously you're always going to be nervous about how a game can go. Rugby can change in an absolute instant, but we were pretty solid as we were going through. We knew our defence could hold up, and now, say, as we start to go forward, we had the next opportunity, initially carried forward by Oscar Cruz, just a little bit short, so had the peace of mind to get that ball back, and it was picked from the base there by Caleb Faulkner. And a funny one here as well is from this angle, and you can't see from the camera either, couldn't really see whether that ball had got down. And us on the touchline as coaches and subs were all sort of wondering. Referee had a quick chat with his assistant, and the whistle went, the arm was raised, and it was a try. So that was a huge boost to get us back in and put us fully in the driving seat once again. It
wasn't going to be contested at the end. It wasn't going to be an easy final few minutes. It was still going to be highly contested. But that's exactly what you want to see at this level as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, we want it to be competitive. We want it to be worthwhile win, and it surely was. They took us wide here, very wide, and we came a bit narrow in defence, again, because our legs were becoming fatigued. But we had a chat about it, and we rectified it towards the end of the second half, which allowed us to hold out.
Yeah, this was a pretty key moment as well. I think, you know...
could have made a different choice here, but he was quite confident in...
Yeah, but Ben Morris, you know, opting to take for the tee, so we got the kicking tee on, took those 3 points just to push it to 7 points difference. At this time, it was only four points difference. Again, our conversions being the real difference here. So that kick meant that we were able to expand that lead just a little bit more, just to keep it as far away as possible, which was really key.
Yeah, these are tense times now. These are tense times. You know, you can feel the anxiety, and the lads are desperate to do everything they can. But you've got to stay together as a unit in rugby. This is the key, and we did.
Final whistle. See Tom's first one on the pitch there to celebrate. You can tell just how much it means to all of you. David, just to bring you in a little bit, I mean, I believe you made your debut. Is this your senior debut?
Well, actually, I played Jamaica UK in December, but yeah, this is pretty much my first real debut.
I mean, for you, at full time, being able to celebrate such a young age, tell us what's going through your mind there.
I mean, it's fantastic. I've forget about everything. It's such a good feeling to run to the pitch and like celebrate with my players with our first win in Rugby Europe. It's a fantastic feeling.
First win in Rugby Europe. In terms of context of joining it, was this a statement from Gibraltar Rugby, you think?
Yeah, I think so. Look, regardless of the result, it would have been an amazing weekend and a great way for us to start. But obviously, it's sport. Everyone wants to win, and everyone wants that first win. And to win against Finland, who we lost to very narrowly when we went to them in May, was a huge statement for us. And that we belong in this kind of competition, and that we belong to have the right to be able to compete and to represent ourselves. So I think it was a huge statement. A lot of people, who may not have heard of us before, it would have been their first time watching. We've already had thousands of views on the live stream, lots of people from all sorts of countries tuning in. So perhaps a few of those other countries we may be playing against in the future, trying to have a look at, give themselves a taste of what they might be coming up against in the future.
I want to touch upon something you said there, belonging, a sense of belonging. On the pitch, Tristan, was there a particular moment where you felt, you know what, this feels right, this feels like where we should have been a long time ago now?
Yeah, there was. It was in the first half. We had a period of about 10 to 15 minutes where we were under pressure defensively in our 22. But we stayed together as a unit, and we managed to defensively push the opposition back to inside their half. And that was, you can get charged up from that. That brings a lot to the team, to show them, that when they put the bodies on the line, when they come off the line together and stay as a unit, and they belong together, you can make strides forward. And that sort of epitomises the team at the moment.
Now that you're going to have more international games coming around and more often as well, I mean, tell us a bit about the philosophy and perhaps the style of play that head coach Lee Forty wants to implement, now that you could be playing against very, very tough nations.
Yeah, I think we've got lots of opportunities in terms of how we want to play, and being able to adapt that around. Often you have to adapt that around players in rugby, especially international rugby, because you've got the players that are available to you who are eligible to play. So you can't just bring in some sort of Fijian who you think, he'll be amazing. As typically as a lot of the players that we have, and as Gibraltarians, is many ways that they are stronger but smaller. So, for example, Oscar Cruz is not a massive player. He's not really tall, but he's really strong in his carries, in his legs, in how he presents himself. So, for us, with young players like David as well, who has great footwork and speed, to be able to bring those two elements together and really use the attributes and the benefits of Gibraltarian players to our benefit, plus then a few of the beasts that we have as well. We certainly have a couple of those. We can really play off of each other really well. So certainly using those bigger guys initially to draw in those defenders. Simon Adamson, for example, been playing for years for Gibraltar Rugby, and as we saw in the clips there in the highlights, that he was just crashing through the middle, and that's what then allowed to create space elsewhere in the game. Say with Caleb Faulkner, driving through, using those strong carries, and then moving that ball out so that David could score in the corner, and that's what's so key.
I want to touch upon domestic rugby, because how important is it going to be to improve domestic rugby locally in terms of the league and stuff, to be able to improve the national side? Is that going to be a key factor, you think?
Yeah, definitely. We want to obviously create more opportunities for players locally who are already playing. So we're trying to expand as many opportunities for our players to get game time on the field as much as possible. That will help with what Tris said around conditioning and match fitness, to be able to get ourselves to a level where we feel comfortable to be able to play that full 80 minutes because we've had that practice as much as possible. It's then also, giving that opportunity then for new locals. And we've had, especially in our women's section, for example, yesterday there were nearly 25 women coming down training, and about 2/3 of those were all coming down pretty new and pretty fresh to rugby, giving it a go. So, the news of Rugby Europe is already spreading. It's already getting new players involved, and we're always an open-armed sport. We want as many people to play rugby as possible. It's something that I've never seen anyone turned away from playing rugby. It's always something, and if maybe contact's not your thing, then touch rugby is another option as well. If you're someone like David who has an opportunity to play sevens as well as 15s, there's so many opportunities that we have in different formats, in different opportunities, and now with different competitions with Rugby Europe. but the local stuff needs to always be the core of that to be able to grow the sport as a whole. So, yeah, it's definitely important, and it gives the opportunity for more local people to have a go at rugby.
Okay, that's about pretty much all we have time for in part one. We'll continue the rugby conversation in part two, continue to expand on women's rugby and much, much more. Don't go anywhere. See you in a couple. Welcome back to the Sports Locker. We're talking all things rugby after Gibraltar were accepted as members of Rugby Europe, and they've now got an exciting few months ahead. Tom, let's talk about a bit about women's rugby, which touched upon it in part one, and the opportunities that this now opens for them, which, I mean, until quite recently, last year they played the first first overseas match.
Yep.
You know, so tell us about how exciting it's going to be for them and how exciting it is to develop them.
Yeah, I mean, we've always had a women's section within Gibraltar Rugby, and we've always tried to keep supporting them going forward. We've managed to get to the point, as you say, last year that we had the Met Police come out to us in 2024. We returned the favour, went back to them in 2025, and that was a great opportunity for our women. You know, it's playing an established team in England. You know, police officers as well, so we're pretty physically fit. So it was definitely a test. But it was a great chance to unite all the players together, to have one sort of common goal moving forwards. And so that sort of opportunity has been great for them. And now with Rugby Europe coming forwards, the opportunities for them is around initially most likely sevens, you know, chatting to other nations of similar-ish size in terms of rugby. Malta, for example, have focused their women's on sevens in particular, rather than 15 straight away. So as able to get them the momentum to build the support, to build the local league of sevens, and to get to the point where now they can start looking at playing 15 aside as well. So it's about building the foundation, supporting them to get to the place we want to be, because we want to have as many people playing for Gibraltar Rugby as possible.
Of course, yeah. David, talking about opportunities, I understand you're going to be going off to uni soon. Now that you do see a future playing international rugby for Gibraltar, has that impacted your decision in terms of where you want to go to university based on how good the rugby program is or how good the level is?
I mean, yeah, I've had a few conversations with Tom talking about different universities and what are my best options which ones are going to be best for rugby and what I can do there. So, yeah, hopefully I'm going to be going to Uni of Exeter, and they've got a brilliant level of rugby there, and that's going to open many more doors for me, so can't wait.
Is that going to be something new to add to how the association is run, how the union is run, now having to keep tabs on international players that are in England, making sure they're keeping fit, making sure they're eating well? Yeah,
I mean, something that we've started to introduce already over the last couple of years. So we've run, for the last 2 years, an academy programme. So that's for a lot of the students who will go off to the UK and go to university, being able to play games and training camps in the UK whilst they're at uni. So doing that now with the players going off to university, I have that conversation with them. Obviously, their course and making sure the uni is right for their education is of paramount importance. Yeah. But then if they have a range of options they're looking at, is working out where's the best opportunity for them to play rugby and using contacts I have or contacts that friends of ours have to be able to get them into the right place, to be able to have the best opportunity moving forward. And when it comes to the senior national team, yeah, certainly from that side, we already kind of keep tabs on where they're playing, how much they're playing, any game footage that we can get to see what they're playing and how they're playing. Yeah. But certainly in terms of now, you know, the fitness, the S&C side, nutrition, these are all conversations we're starting to have with all the players of, you know, we're going to have to up our level now, and we have a strong reason to be able to do so with being in Rugby Europe. So it's, you know, it's a lot of work, but for a lot of the players, I mean, you know, not to speak for these guys, but chatting to them all, it's more excitement of having the opportunity to be able to do this sort of stuff, this higher level of conditioning and S&C and tracking than we have done in the past. It's been very often the case that over the last recent years we've been playing our games away, but now we're finally being able to bring them back home a lot more, to finally be able to play in front of children's, family, friends. Yeah, I mean, what's that like?
Oh, it's huge. It makes it all worthwhile, you know, all the long nights, the training sessions in the cold and all the rest of it. It makes it all worthwhile. The years of playing, to be able to play in front of your kids, in front of your wives and families, It's really, really special. And the more support we get down there, the more special it becomes. And we had a crowd of around 700 to 1,000 people at the weekend when we played last, and it was just incredible, incredible. It made it all worthwhile. And the crowd make a real difference to the way you play as a player. When you make that big hit, or you've got that tricky situation when you're on your line, and you can hear the crowd in the background, it's energising. It makes such a difference.
Yeah, I can imagine that's the case, especially with such a physical sport where perhaps later in the match you must start to feel really drained, but when you hear your partner, your children cheering you on, it must feel like an extra edge in the final few minutes.
Absolutely, yeah, huge. Yeah.
We're running out of time, but I wanted to quickly touch upon the negative news from Spain's side, because of course big obstacle for us taking this long was Spain opposing us joining Rugby Europe. They're still opposing our acceptance, and we heard from the Spanish Federation when we first joined. Now they've been politically backed by Vox, the political party. What's Gibraltar's stance on the view, and I mean, how much credit can we give to their statements?
I think that for us, we focus on the positive of getting into Rugby Europe. We focus on the work that we've been doing for so many years, and the work that we now need to do to continue to push ourselves ahead of next season and ahead of the summer for the 7th season as well. In terms of the political side and all of that, look, you know, there's not much that we can add. That fight at the moment is between Rugby Europe and Spain. For us, we focus on our positives and what we can control, and we push forwards. We have no, you know, a view that any claim is correct. For us, we've got in off our own merits, and we're rightful members, and that's not going to change.
Well, good. You can put people's minds at ease. Spain, if you're listening, back off. Gibraltar's here to stay.
Certainly.
Guys, just a couple of minutes left. I'm going to go through 10 quick-fire questions. Let's go with David. Yeah, let's go with David. Biggest hit you've given or taken?
Biggest hit I've given is probably in a game with the young ones. I think it was on the A-team's game, and I was coming across the pitch to the wing, and I smashed someone out into the touchline.
And do you remember when you got hit hard?
In the recent Finland game, I think somebody tackled me and I got smashed in my chest, and it's been hurting for a week.
Should look into that. We should have Joyce look into that. Yeah,
she certainly will.
Now that we're playing Rugby Europe, dream stadium to play in? Twickenham, surely.
Yeah, go on Twickenham.
Pre-match ritual or superstition?
Tie my laces really tight.
Who's the hardest trainer in the squad? Oh, everyone trains really hard.
Yeah. No, I can't think of anyone.
Not you either, Tris. You're not the hardest trainer.
I was going to say,
You got a man next to you, isn't it?
Who from Gibraltar would you not want tackling you at full speed?
Julian Turnock.
More than Beasley?
Yeah, I can get around him though. Julian's big and scary and quick. I don't want him to tackle.
Who spends the longest in front of the mirror?
Julian.
Yeah.
Julian?
Even though he's...
Well, quickly, we're going to cut down the questions. We're running out of time. Favourite post-match meal or drink?
A beer, probably.
Standard.
Now he's 18, he can say that.
Yeah, exactly. Who would you least trust with your phone unlocked?
Julian, maybe?
Yeah, Julian's a popular name.
Coming up a lot.
Just finally now, best player in the squad to have beside you in big moments? Tris.
Nah, I think I have to say Ben, because he gifted me that. Ben Morris, he gifted me that try against Finland.
Okay, that's a good answer.
Yeah,
good answer. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming along. Best of luck in the near future, and we'll be seeing a lot more of Gibraltar Rugby here at home.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. And we've got more games coming at home, so come down and watch, that's for sure.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. That's it for this week's Sports Talker, talking all things rugby. Get down to Europa points for the big international games coming up. We don't know just who yet, but there will be one in March. Keep your eyes peeled. From myself and the team, good night.